Woody Wednesday, top 10 edition. Ohio State, Penn State in the Horseshoe on Saturday at noon on Fox. This is the smiliest practice report you have ever seen.
Woody Wednesday, heck yeah.
The 40-year-old vet, Tim. No, it's not the 40-year-old vet. You could be 40 years old.
Yeah,
the 40-year vet.
At least 40.
The 40-year vet, Tim May, Andy Backstrom, and me, Spencer Holberg. We're having a good time in the Woody because we have talked to Ryan Day for a second time this week. That's right, a second time. Usually, we get the head ball coach on Thursday for a lightning round. Nope, he says, we're not doing that anymore. Rip that plan up, threw it in the trash. We're going Wednesday nights now. So you're going to get 3 wide at lettermenrow.com talking about players and HCRD, head coach Ryan Day. Tim, what'd you take away from Woody Wednesday in here?
This team is focused. I mean, I know that sounds cliche, but this team is focused on what's coming on Saturday. They know this is a bigger, tougher test than they faced last week at Purdue, PSU.
And they stunk.
PSU offers Penn State University offers a totally different test across the board. And, I'm just, from Ryan Day to, you're going to have a little piece coming up on Marvin Harrison Jr., the best wide receiver in the country. Just don't look at the mid-season All-America teams to prove that.
Yeah,
there's still some games to come, baby.
Yeah.
And then Kyle McCord, just talking about the magnitude of playing in a game like this, because it is a referendum game.
Yep.
Like, I think you or someone was asking about what's going away next year. Number one, Ohio State's not going to play Penn State next year, right? Do I have that right?
They will. They won't play in 2025.
2025. They weren't going to play in 2024 in the original shakeup. But the fact that you're going to take this kind of game out of a regular season happening, and this is my opinion of what if anybody was interviewing me here today, that's what I'd be saying. Are you nuts? Are you nuts? I mean, this is one of the great rivalries in college football. Yeah, it's only been regular since 1993, but this is one of it had some of the greatest games ever, some of the most watched games on television, of course, live audiences, 100,000 plus. It's just nuts that this is going to be the last of what you'd call the regularly scheduled ones of these. So
in the Horseshoe too.
In the Horseshoe.
The last one next year will be in State College, and then they won't play every year.
Right. So, man, I'm going to kick back and enjoy this no matter what.
Andy, what'd you learn from?
That wasn't what I learned. That's what I was feeling.
That's okay. This is a feeling show, Tim. Andy, what'd you learn though?
Yeah, we'll start to go off what Tim said. James Franklin's 1-8 against Ohio State in the last 9 years. He's been head coach. This is the 10th time they'll be meeting. But in those games, Penn State has led or been tied in the fourth quarter 5 times.
Yeah.
These have gone down to the wire. And Kyle McCord was like, this is a big game for this whole team. It's a big game for me, too. He's from New Jersey, but he played in Pennsylvania at St. Joe's Prep in Philadelphia. He went to see, in 2018, Penn State play Ohio State, but that was at Penn State. He was a Penn State recruit at that game, and he loved the way Dwayne Haskins played. And he said, I could fit into this offense if I got an offer from Ohio State. He didn't have an offer at that time. So it's just a really cool storyline this week. Of course, Drew Allers from Medina, Ohio. I don't know if that's
Medina,
Ohio.
Yeah.
Forgive me, people. I'm
that's
still learning Ohio.
You don't say Lima, do you? You say Lima.
I know
He's learning Midwest, folks.
But really cool storyline there with the quarterbacks. But what I took away from today, honestly, is when you're looking at this team, the big matchup this week is the line of scrimmage. And the offensive line needs to be on its A game, or as close to possible its A game. And Kyle McCord said, he can help in that regard. 1, he can get the ball out quickly. 2, he can be loud at the line of scrimmage, calling out protections. And I think that is really key this week. It's not just those 5 guys. He said it's a team effort to regulate the pressure that Penn State's going to send, because Penn State can get pressure, and this defense that Manny Diaz runs likes to wreak havoc.
One of my big takeaways, real quick, on the Ohio State defense, the most hilarious moment in here tonight was when friend of this show, Andrew Gillis, asked Davison Igbinosun what stands out about Drew Aller since he doesn't turn the ball over and how you have to defend him. And he goes, no, I don't change anything. And then Joey Kaufman from Columbus Dispatch asked, what are your impressions of Drew Aller? And he goes, well, he doesn't turn the ball over. I just thought that was hilarious. He played off of that perfectly, so shout out to Davison for that. But as far as the Ohio State offense goes, my big takeaway is Marvin Harrison Jr., he's not mad, he's just disappointed in himself. This man was not happy with those 3 drops. And if you think that's going to happen again, I have bad news for you. I don't think it will ever happen again. I think he could play football for the next 80 years, and he won't drop 3 balls in another game, because he said he didn't change anything, he didn't do anything differently, and the drops happened. So now he's changed his routine. He's made sure to shore it up. He said, my training failed me, and I was disappointed in myself.
Well,
it's just He had 100 yards receiving. He had a touchdown. He shut up those stupid Purdue defensive backs who insisted on running their mouths to him despite him torching them.
Number one, man.
So, like,
he got an indoctrination, a baptism, whatever you want to call it.
Marvin Harrison Jr. was good, but the problem was he wasn't great. And he said, the standard is perfect. The standard is Hall of Fame because that's where I want to be. I want to chase my dad. And so it's just insane, the standard he holds himself to. He didn't meet that on Saturday. So my big takeaway is he's chasing to meet that standard this week, and I think that's not great news for Penn State.
You heard me ask him, though, I mean, because there was something, you know, equipment can play a role in a wide receiver's game, whereas back in the day, it wasn't so much, but there was kind of a damp ball. It was a weird day at Purdue, as you well know. And, of course, it rained during the game some. And it was like this misty kind of like feel. And when I asked him about that, he goes, yeah, he wished he'd taken his gloves off, he said, because one of his gloves in particular he thought had given him a problem. Now, he's not going to use that as the excuse.
No.
But clearly something was wrong. It looked like his mechanics were the same, but just the ball gets through there sometimes, you know. And it's really funny because when you really press him on it, he's just taking it all on himself. But, yeah, there was something to be said for the conditions and his equipment. And I'm sure he'll be quick to make a change this week. Who knows what the weather's really going to be like on Saturday. We're still several days out here on Woody Wednesday. It's like saying Woody Wednesday. But, yeah, I mean,
would Woody have liked that?
There's a guy. Can you imagine? And he talked about that. Can you imagine he's growing up? He's the son of one of the elite wide receivers of all time.
He said the greatest.
That's his dad. Of course, it's, you know, he's going to say that. I agree. I mean, you could make an argument for him just like you make one for Chris Carter, like Jerry Rice, right on down the board. But the funny thing about him is, as opposed to other juniors, you know, sometimes is he's a taller, bigger, faster version of his dad, but with the same pass-catching ability. And you talk about blessed. Yeah. Not every junior is blessed in that regard.
No, they're certainly not. Are you a junior, Tim?
No, I'm the second. I'm the second-born of the second-born of the second-born.
So no juniors on this show. Marvin Harrison Jr. not on the show. Noted. Ohio State, Andy, in my opinion, had a little bit more of a focus than even the Notre Dame game. I think the stakes are raised, and I think Ohio State understands that. I don't know if you caught the same vibe, but, like, they know that this game counts in conference standings, so it goes win-loss in two different spots. They know that college football playoff race hinges on this. The stakes are raised, but the team's demeanor has not changed compared to the Notre Dame game, and I think that's interesting. They know it's a matchup game, but they haven't said matchup game like they did against Notre Dame. They know stakes are higher, but they haven't really said, like, yeah, we know that we have to win this game. Like, there's almost a subtle understanding of what's going on here and what's about to take place.
Those two opponents are pretty similar, though, and I asked Jordan Hancock about that. I was like, hey, look, this Notre Dame offense looks pretty similar to the Penn State one you're about to see. He's like, yeah, it does, and they use a lot of 12 personnel. They use a lot of heavy packages down by the goal line. Sometimes they even bring in two running backs down there to help out with blocking, or they can hand it off to either of them. There's a lot of creative things that they do with heavy packages at Penn State does, and I think that there's some similarities with the tight ends as the main receiving threats really for this Penn State team, especially in the red zone. The tight ends have 7 of the 15 passing touchdowns.
Yep.
So, like, there are so many things when I think about that Week 4 game that I'm thinking about right now for Ohio State's defense preparing for this Penn State offense. And so, yes, it does feel a little bit different, but it also feels pretty similar too.
The thing about this offense too that they're going against is, just like Notre Dame, they are more than happy to take the dink and dunks, as I call them. You know, if you back off into a zone and leave a little lobe, I call them lobes, open over here, they're more than happy for their tight end to just curl in there like the Evans kid did for Notre Dame and drives you crazy. But, you know, but it also puts them more and more in a box the farther they go down the field.
Yeah.
You know, and the question is really, once Penn State is going against I think Ohio State has an elite defense right now. Is it the world's greatest? Still hasn't been proven yet. But I think this is a defense that really matches up much better the more you go down the field.
Yeah.
The more you shorten the field. And, you're going to give up a play or two like that. But that is definitely going to be the matchup on Saturday I'm going to be watching. Is Penn State has been reluctant to even try to throw a big play, to try to hit a big play. What are they going to do against a defense that matches up with them like this one does? That's going to be curious.
You know what else is curious, Tim? You walked into the Woody Hayes Athletic Center today and said, Spencer, those shorts are just awesome.
Yeah,
Where did you get those? And I said, Tim, I went to birddogs.com/LR, and I used the promo code LR, and I got a free Hydro Flask water bottle, style water bottle, with these shorts.
You know why I said that, though? You know why I said that? It's because I knew you'd use it as an example in this commercial.
That's right. I'd show you my butt, but my wife would get mad at me. They say Bird Dogs on them because these are Bird Dogs, and they're awesome. I just got these. I have the black gym shorts. I have the light blue little shorts that I like to wear. Now I've got the khaki shorts to add to my repertoire. I can wear them in the Woody. I can wear them to play golf because I love playing golf, and I do a terrible job doing it. Tim's got the hat on. Andy's got all the clothes at home that he would need. Birddogs.com is the place to go, and if you use the promo code LR at checkout, you get a free Hydro Flask style water bottle with any purchase, or you make it easier on yourself, birddogs.com/LR, then it just does it for you. These are so comfortable, moisture wicking. They are like Lululemon, but they're better because they're Bird Dogs. That's right. Go to birddogs.com/LR. You will get a free Hydro Flask style water bottle with any purchase at birddogs.com. Tim's got the hat.
Yeah.
The hat is just awesome,
Tim. Dude, I mean, this is serious. I don't know how many people. It's more than 20 have complimented this hat. I mean, I think because it further covers up my ugly head and face, you know. But they've complimented this hat and wanted to know what it was all about. I mean, they really love the little bird on this thing, and it's kind of a curious logo, but it's effective.
And you know what? And you tell them, I got that at birddogs.com/LR, and they say, well, I want to go to birddogs.com/LR, and I want that free water bottle with my purchase of my shorts, my pants. The polos are awesome. I look great in them. Tim looks great in it. Andy looks great in it. You should look great in it as well if you go to birddogs.com/LR.
Jimmy Jenkins, our next door neighbor, had one of the great bird dogs of all time. He used to go quail hunting down in South Texas.
Well,
his bird dog.
His bird dogs are nothing compared to my bird dogs.
No, they aren't.
Fellas,
here on Woody Wednesday.
Before we get out of here, we have to. I'd be remiss if I didn't. Injury reports. Emeka Buka seen walking off the practice field. Looked like some practice. I don't know how much practice. We don't get to see it.
You heard me ask Marvin Harrison Jr. about him, and he goes, "I'm not." And basically said, "It's none of my business. I'm not in a position to answer whether he will play Saturday or not." Of course, Ryan Day doesn't offer that opinion or that knowledge on a Wednesday.
Woody Wednesday.
Yeah. So we will have to wait along with Denzel Burke and all these other things.
And then we saw running backs walk off the field. We saw all the running backs walk off the field, Andy.
Yeah, all running backs walk off the field with helmets, which I think is key. Note, at least all the ones I saw.
Yeah.
So, I think.
Yeah, it was Chip Trainum, helmet.
Yeah.
Travion Henderson, full pads, helmet.
Yeah.
Dallin Hayden was there doing some pass pro after practice. Just a lot to take in from this. Mayan Williams walking off the practice field, helmet. So I would say on Wednesday we're feeling positive. There's nothing to be taken from that other than what you see walking off the practice field. Everyone in this building, all the reporters doing their fancy little videos like we are right now, are doing the exact same thing. They watch what happens when you walk off the practice field and say, huh, that's interesting. So that's what we did.
Like much of a limp?
No. So we just do the same. And we say, huh, that's interesting on a Woody Wednesday because they let us in the building for a Woody Wednesday.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is, like you heard me ask Ryan on Tuesday, I mean, all four of those running backs have been getting work, including Dallin Hayden, in practice, reps in practice and stuff.
You wrote about it at lettermenrow.com on Wednesday, too.
Exactly. Lettermenrow.com. Check it out, the story. But the bottom line is it paid off for them, as Ryan Day said with Tony Alford, making sure all those guys get reps, because you never know when the klaxon is going to sound and suddenly you're in the football game. And so I'm just curious about that too, is how Ohio State's going to use those running backs on Saturday. Who's going to be the first guy out there? You got to figure it's going to be Travion Henderson if he's ready to go, right?
Yeah.
He's missed 2 straight games. You got to figure he's going to be ready to go. If he could have almost played 2 weeks ago, he could have almost played last week. So, but what do you do with Dallin Hayden now? Because we talked about it. The offensive line sure looked better on Saturday, but it sure looked better when Dallin Hayden was running it.
Andy's got one more thing. We're getting out of here.
Yeah, a couple more notes on the injury-related, discussion.
Scene?
Yeah. Ryan Day said that if needed, Carnell Tate is ready. This is about time when these receivers we see this program start to rise up. They get a slow start because they got to learn behind the top guys.
Freshmen?
He said that, look, Carnell Tate is at a point, we talked about it in the spring, we talked about it in the summer. He's at a point where he can break through a little bit right now, and that's something to watch for if Emeka Buka can't play. In addition to Xavier Johnson, Carnell Tate is one to watch. And then the other thing is Jermaine Matthews. We talked about him yesterday. another player to watch. If Denzel Burke can't go, that's someone they can play on the outside. They can move Jordan Hancock to the outside, which they did at times at Purdue, but they can also play Jermaine Matthews there. I'm talking to both Davison Igbinosun and Jordan Hancock. They're both very confident in what he does on the practice field can translate onto the game field.
Interesting, they let us talk to both of those guys, Igbinosun and Jordan Hancock, here a couple of days before the game, because I think they feel really good. Jim Knowles is always knock on wood, because defense, you never know what's going to happen. You think you do, but they have confidence in this cornerback room, and it'll be put to the test again, of course, on Saturday. But it's interesting to see it sort of exude.
Fellas, like the Buckeyes, we take what we learn, what we get critiqued on in the comments of the YouTube, we take it to the practice field, and then we execute it during a game. We try to, at least. I think this is one of the best videos we've done. So kudos to you, Tim May.
Let me ask you a question. Do people really think I don't like you? I mean, who helps you carry concrete to the dump?
Who else but Tim May?
Who has two thumbs and helps Spencer carry concrete to the dump? Who tore up his tailpipe helping Spencer take concrete to the dump? And has two thumbs.
Who else but the 40-year vet Tim May, but Andy Backstrom, but me,
hurts.
Spencer Holbrook. All of our backs hurt. That's okay. It's week 8. We're powering through, like the Buckeyes. Ohio State, Penn State on Saturday at noon, I think. If you're not going to be there, why not? If you are going to be there, it's going to be awesome. But if you're not, go to Fox and you can watch it. Tim May will be there, the 40-year vet. Andy Backstrom, he'll be there. I'm Spencer Holbrook. Thanks for watching the latest video on LettermenRow.com. Thanks for reading the site. If you don't read the site, go to the site. You can get it 50% off right now. It's a hell of a deal. I believe it's $59.99 for an entire year, which, if you do the math, that's pretty good, I think. So go there, get that deal right now. It runs until Sunday because we got a big game special going on. Speaking of the big game, we'll see you in the Horseshoe on Saturday, but first, we'll see you here on Friday for bold predictions.